up?
How are you, boo?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I always turn off my air to do these, so I'm already just a little warm. And you saw me jigging to Monica right before you hopped on this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were
So for
glowing, by the
starters,
way.
you said what?
I said you're glowing, by the way.
Yeah. Listen. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm gonna accept. Thank you. It's been a year.
Mm.
But like a moth to the flame that burns by the fire.
Yes.
So Johnny, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I have my coffee here. It's my second cup of the day.
Okay, I got my tea. I'm drinking some throat coat because I do 2 hours of talking. You're my first hour, and then I got another hour to do after.
Oh, love that. Yeah, I'm good. It's a beautiful day outside, so I'll probably go out in a little bit. But right now, I'm just enjoying being a little homebody, you know.
You're always out. All of your pictures and stuff, like you have been socking it. I mean, you always sock it, but it seems like you've upped the ante in 2020.
I mean, honestly, being outside feels like the only kind of normalcy that there is right now. So, like, being in a pool or by the beach, like, it just feels like, I don't know, like the vitamin D does something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does something to me as well. In every aspect. In the scientific aspect and in the Beyonce, Jay-Z ape shit aspect.
Okay, very that.
So I want to start off so how I'm going to break this up is normally we do just a few, topics that circulated in the news, and then we're going to get into who Johnny Sibilly is. So,
Okay.
and I'm pronouncing your last name right, correct?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, so let's start off. This week, first of all, happy birthday, Kobe. Kobe Bryant would have been 42 years old today. We know that we tragically lost him at the top of this year in January, and it just still feels so... It feels so distant. It doesn't feel like it happened this year to me.
Not
What
at
about
all.
you?
It happened like right before all of this started, so it feels like it was either last year or the middle of last year. Like even the fact that you brought it up, I was like, oh my God, that was this year.
Yeah, we've had a lot happen, and we've also had a lot of losses. And when I was combing through the topics to talk about this week, it seems like everything was like not good news. So I'm trying to keep it as fluffy as possible. So happy birthday, Kobe. Speaking of Kobe, it's a fun fact that Kobe Bryant he and Brandy went to prom together, and he also guest starred on Moesha.
Oh my God,
I don't know if you saw the news, but it just was announced that the Versus next Monday on August 31st is Brandy and Monica. Yeah. What team are you on?
I have to say,
this is deep rooted. This is 90s beat.
Okay, so this morning, I when I was having my first cup of coffee, I saw the flyer and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like racking my brain. I'm like, what is my favorite Brandy and Monica song? So I played them one after the other, and Brandy won.
Brandy won.
Have you ever? I just remember being a little gay boy, like, have you ever? Like, about some straight boy on the soccer team, like, so that is why she's special for me.
See, I'm Monica. I love Brandy with all due respect. Love Brandy. And I've met both of them. I've been in conversation with both of them. I've seen both of them live. I think almost doesn't count if you've never seen Brandy do that live. It is a transcendent religious experience. That song is a gospel song live.
Right.
But I think I'm Team Mo with this. They both have great music, but what's weird is I've seen a lot of discourse that Brandy was like kind of like too perfect, cookie cutter, and Monica was edgier. And I never thought about this because I'm in the Beehive, a long-standing member, 20 plus years, and that's been some of Beyonce's biggest criticism is that she comes across too perfect, too cookie cutter, too manufactured. So I wonder why I gravitate towards someone like Beyonce, and I didn't necessarily gravitate. And like I said, I can acknowledge I love Moesha.
Yeah.
Brandy was a cover girl, first Black Cinderella, double platinum with Diana Ross. Like, Brandy sings, she's talented, she's great. Right. But I just feel, maybe it's the bird in me, I don't know, but I'm with the Monica.
Right. I mean, Monica's demeanor was always more appealing to me. Like that kind of like, I don't care what you think, And this is
Yeah.
just, it is what it is. You know, I did feel like Brandy was always a little more like, you know, for everyone. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
see, what I jotted down is because this morning while I was getting ready to come talk to you, I listened to The Boy Is Mine, and I came to the conclusion. I mean, this isn't a new revelation for me, but listening to it again, even though it's Brandy's song, technically, like she's got lead vocals on the chorus,
Right.
she opens the song like it's her song. I mean, it's billed as both of them, not one featuring the other. It's billed as both of them, but in my opinion, and you can disagree, in my opinion, Monica, the way in which she executed that song, I believed her.
Right,
So
right.
when listening back, it seems like Brandy's just singing a song.
Well, I will say
But
that anytime
Monica,
that song comes on, I always want to take the Monica part. Because
right,
the
because
way her
Monica,
voice...
must
Yeah.
you do the things you do? Like Monica made me believe
Okay.
that The Boy was hers. It was the way in which she sang it. So, also, really quick, I know that you're from Miami, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Florida in a minute. But anyway,
oh, okay.
I want to know. Okay, so are you familiar with Monica's song? I think it's So Gone. You know,
Yeah.
so okay. So on you all's radio station, I don't know what city you lived in when this was on the radio, but in Chicago, shout out to everyone from Chicago who's tuned in. In Chicago, they bleeped out "kick down your door and smack your chick." Did they do that on the radio where you're from?
I feel like they did, because that lyric sounds very specific, but I'm not 100% sure. But I feel like they did like bleep that out.
Like that is a vivid memory of mine. It would say "kick down your door and MC your chick," and I'm like, well, what's wrong with smack? What's wrong with smack?
They didn't want to promote, you know, any kind of violence, smacking anybody.
I guess, but when it's men, when it was 50 Cent talking about shoot 'em up and all, you know, all the gangster rap on the same station, they were not bleeping out, you know, stuff. So whatever. Moving on. So we lost to. First of all, are you a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race? Okay, it's good. So I'm talking to someone of the culture, because you may stop talking to me when I tell you this, but okay, this isn't particular to Drag Race. Listen, hold on. This is not particular to Drag Race. This is just me, who I am as a person, and all of my friends can vouch for me. Okay. I am not big on competition reality shows. I prefer ensemble. I like The Real World. I like the Housewives franchise. You're not going to catch me watching Big Brother or Survivor or Top Model.
Love Island.
Or Drag Race or The Bachelor. Like, I'm not a fan of competition shows. So with that being said, I have not seen RuPaul's Drag Race since Latrice Royale competed the first time.
Ooh, yeah. That was a good season.
She was my favorite. I loved her that season.
She was amazing.
She was great. So with you being a fan of Drag Race, we've had 2 drag stars from that show in the headlines. First of which we had James, I think his name, I can't remember his last name. But I think it's James Ross, but his drag name was Tyra Sanchez. I believe the first or the second winner of Drag Race.
Yes, second season, yeah.
Second season. I enjoyed, I know that he has rejected that. He's rejected all things drag. He doesn't want to be affiliated with the name, but he was, you know, he was in the news, you know, he got arrested for vandalism of his apartment building. And from what I've been hearing, things have not been the most consistent and cohesive for him within the last few years. It appears as if he might be unraveling online. So I hope he's okay. Was he one of your favorites? Oh,
yeah. I mean, when I watched, I was very much of the idea that, like, oh, she's not, like, everything was perfect. Like, the looks were perfect. The runways were perfect. Everything was perfect. But the personality was very misunderstood, in my opinion. Yeah, it was very crunchy, a little like, I don't need to hang out with anybody. Like, it was very like, this isn't RuPaul's best friends race. But there was no arguing the caliber of drag. You know what I mean? So Tyra for me has always been like up here, because, you know, if you like, I go back and rewatch seasons as just like, you know, while I'm cleaning the house and stuff. But Tyra was that girl, but also like mental health and all that, we don't really know. Like, I mean, there's been reports and things like that, and also the fan base of RuPaul's Drag Race is just toxic, especially to the black girls on the show. It is toxic. And it's so funny, like the way the editing works as well. Like you see the way certain people get away with things and certain people don't. So like it's just been years and years of like fans being shady. And like I said, on the show, she wasn't like necessarily the most warm character, but that's okay. Like not everyone has to be Miss Congeniality. You know what I mean?
Right. And
So
it's funny that you mentioned that, because I am familiar. I should mention that although I have not watched the show in years, I'm familiar with some of their flagship talent. Like I know Shangela, I know Alyssa, I know Raven, I love a Juju beat. Like I know some of these girls' names. And it's funny that you mentioned that as far as just like the politics of the show, because I'm someone, now me and this girl, we did not necessarily grow up together, but we came of age together, meaning that we met when we were teens, and we're still pretty cool today. So I came of age with one of Drag Race's most controversial personalities. Her name is the Vixen.
yes.
Shout out to the South Side of Chicago.
Hey.
But we've known each other since we were maybe 15. You know, we went to neighboring high schools. It was just like in passing. I wouldn't call us necessarily like, we were like communal friends, because we had friends that were friends, but there was never, I understand her because I know her, you know, like, but I saw a lot of the conversations surrounding like her season. That was a spicy season.
It was. And I remember watching it and having to check myself afterward of the way I was perceiving the Vixen. Which I feel like now we're like online friends now, so it's like so funny. But I still see the way that fans treat her in comparison. And it's funny because on the show, if one of the white queens goes off and like says what needs to be said, everyone's like, wow, she really let her have it. But when the black queens do it, they're angry. I mean, you know, the tropes are there, and they're there, and I think what the Vixen did was really, really shined a light on it, because before it was like there were like smatterings of conversations, but it really took a whole different tone after the Vixen. Because also what's so great about her as a queen is that she was always so unapologetically black, you know, and that's another thing about Drag Race. I love Drag Race, but I feel like anytime you're other, whether you're black or Latino or Asian, it's always very, very, very tropey. And you know, most times because you feel like that's the box that you're supposed to be in. But I feel like the Vixen has really opened a lot of people's eyes and doesn't get enough credit for, you know, for doing that. So
yeah, one of my favorite memes of her that floats around is everyone's telling me how to react, but no one's telling her how to act. And I feel like that is universal law, especially navigating the world as a black woman, as a person of color. Like I could take that into the work, like that resonated with me. That's floating around, because that's typically how it goes, you know?
Absolutely. It's never the problem. It's how you react to the problem that becomes the problem. It's like, wait, hold on. You know.
So I want to transition really quickly, because I know that you are a Britney fan, much like myself, Britney Jean. By the way, can you believe, like I said, I'm an avid beehiver, like it runs deep. Yeah. Beyonce will be 39 in a few weeks, and she's just a few months older than Britney. Can you believe that our girls are ticking on 40, like really ticking on 40?
And it's so funny because the older I get, the more close I feel to them. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, oh my God, they're so much older than me.
That's what, oh my, I felt that way too. Because I vividly remember Kelly, Michelle, and Beyonce, like when they turned 18, when they turned 19, when they turned 20. I remember Beyonce's 21st birthday party, the whole Crazy in Love. And now it's like, I'm 32, she's about to be 39. Like, but it feels, I think because maybe as we get older, age does not, it kind of just, when you're an adult and paying bills, it kind of just all meshes together, it feels like.
I don't feel any different. I mean, yeah.
And maybe because they look like peers to me. Like, you know, like Beyonce's 38, but she looks like she could be any type of, she could run the gamut of the 30s.
She really could. And I love their little, like, love for one another. It's not very, very public, but they've always been very sweet and kind when it comes. And I mean, Britney is like, so Britney's my number one, like, since I was like little. Well, Whitney actually is my number one, but Britney is like my pop. Yeah, the voice, and then there's my pop diva, and then there's Beyonce. Those three are like my holy trinity. Um, yeah, and I don't know, she's just the sweetest girl. Like,
But I wanted to talk to you about, I don't know if you saw the recent headline, but I'm assuming that you did. She wants her conservatorship given to Jamie Lynn, baby sis, and she wants it away from dad. What are your thoughts on this? Because my thing, I love Brittany.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if I'm being honest with you, sometimes her videos that she posts are a little troubling to me, but I just want to hug her. I want to woo, woo, woo.
Right.
I still have such a respect for her. The catalog, we can't argue the hits. I'm just listening to sometimes in the shower, because sometimes I do run. Sometimes I do hide. And sometimes I'm scared.
Right. I'm sure that's how she feels too right now. I mean, so it's so funny. I'm such a fan that when her mom came out with a book, I read the book. And like her mom's like tell all after Brittany had her her episodes in 2007. But she's never really had the best relationship with her dad. Okay. So this all makes perfect sense. In like interviews, you see her, she never talks about her dad in this kind of you know, sweet way that she talks about like her sister or her mom. And you know, there's like family history there. So I think also her dad's making a nice little coin from being her conservator. So like there's just a lot of shadiness happening there. And it happens all the time with like child stars, and like your family helps you out and then all of a sudden everyone's owed for the rest of their life. And I really do think that Brittany is a lot smarter than people give her credit for. But I do believe she's also like, I just love pictures of flowers and angels, and like,
I love how she's like, I'm here to answer some of you guys' questions. You asked what my favorite Disney character was. My favorite Disney character is so-and-so. What my favorite milkshake flavor is, I love vanilla. Right. My favorite book and I'll just be like, go on, girl. Go
and I'm like,
Brittany.
We're not asking about that, Miss Thing. We're asking about when you're getting out of this cage.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
But I hope that Jamie Lynn seems like she has a good head on her shoulders, even though she's been out of the spotlight. She's been off my radar for years. Yeah. But she seems like she still has a good head on her shoulders. Totally. And I think Brittany would be okay with Jamie Lynn.
Yeah, totally.
So I just realized I skipped over like 3 topics, but going back to the realm of drag, I wanted to acknowledge that we lost Sugar Pie Coco. Are you familiar with her? She was in New York. We lost her. We also lost Chi Chi Devane. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
34. Yeah. Pneumonia, kidney failure, a whole bunch of stuff, allegedly, from what I'm reading.
Yeah,
also, so young.
I did a show with Chi Chi 2 years ago called Drag Babies, where her, Peppermint, and Sugarcane from Drag Race turned three of us guys into drag queens. Yeah, and it was such an experience. Like just the way that she, like, you know, when someone's just absolutely 100% genuine, they can't even fake like when they're uncomfortable. You know, it was just such a kind soul, and it's just like when you think about, you know, we always say we lose the ones that like you don't want to go. You know, obviously we don't want people to die, but like there's the evil people that you're like, okay, when are we getting rid of them? And then there's the angels that like leave us too soon. She was definitely just like a light, and I feel so blessed to have been able to share space with her at some point in time. And, you know,
And then it's such a sad story because, like I said, I meant to tie this in at the beginning of the show but we went off track with Tyra and all of that stuff because the headlines have been crazy this week, and we even kicked off the week with violence in Hollywood against 3 trans women, Edith, Jocelyn, and Jocelyn. And I know that was very, very tough for me. I had to post on my story to stop tagging me in the video, because the thing is, Johnny, I don't think that people are well-intentioned. I truly don't. But I think that they're inconsiderate. Like, what in your, like, I get that you want a hot take. Yeah. I get that, you know, whatever positioning you may give me, even though I have constantly reiterated, I'm the pop culture girl, I do have takeaways. That's my existence. These are my intersectional identity. So yes, I'm going to have something to say, but I need a break, because I've never positioned myself to be the smoking gun, so to speak, when there is trans violence, because I have a lot of vicarious trauma, a lot of secondary trauma, and I need to process that, especially in a year like 2020. Give a bitch a breather.
Right.
Do you have, I know that you work closely with, you have a lot of trans sisters, a lot of trans friends. You're talking to someone who's trans.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts as a cis gay man? What are your thoughts on what took place in Hollywood? What are we going to do?
First and foremost, I just want to say that most of the man that I am today is because of the love and the uplifting of trans women. So for me, it's like family being attacked, even if I don't know. Like it hits close to home. Also because I've been in situations with friends of mine and I've experienced hate, like by proxy. It just being in the space, seeing the. But I feel like what happened, you know, and I was talking to a friend recently about this, is that this isn't new. Trans people, non-binary people getting attacked all the time. You just don't see it on video because no one's recording it. And this was thankfully recorded. So when people have to see a trans woman get knocked in the head, you know, and not to bring back that, but when they have to see that with their eyes, that they live in the cis privilege, they have to acknowledge it and then they have to do something about it. So, I mean, I've been lucky because I know trans people and they're some of my closest friends and just, but it gags me when I see people like, oh my gosh, how is this happening? I'm like, what do you mean? How are you not seeing it for years? Like, because this isn't, you know, you hear the statistics, y'all are reposting the statistics. Do numbers not matter to you? And it makes me, it really does boil my blood because it just pisses me off. And I'm always like, listen, if this was two butch queens walking down the street and getting pummeled with rocks, y'all queens would be out here with a rainbow flag talking about, how could you oppress us? I'm like, where are your voices? Where is the anger? Where is it? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I want to actually acknowledge what Ashley Marie Preston mentioned last night in DC. I did see the video. There was a trans woman whooping a cis man's ass who was like twice her size.
Right.
So shout out to that sister. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much. I don't want to say it's sometimes too much because it's always too much.
Always,
it's quite literally always too much. And it's just another, you know, reality. I think I tweeted, not to even misquote myself, but I've come to acknowledge that progress is slow because people are inherently self-serving. And really, when you step back and look, or when I step back and look, there's no incentive for people to be better. There's no incentive. There's no incentive for white people to be less racist. There's no incentive for cis people to be less transphobic. There's none. It literally has to be based on your own moral compass and your own, I guess, how you see humanity, because people are like it, and that's not to be doom and gloom on the live, but that is something that hit me like a sack of bricks, so to speak, when I was just really examining why progress might be so slow. People are self-serving, and if there's no incentive, they're not going to really launch into it. And I've noticed from a lot of cis people that trans women are of no good unless it's something doom and gloom. We're never celebrated. Hardly ever celebrated, and how racism kind of infiltrates all of these publications and organizations. There's a lot of, let's face it, a lot of white men at the helms of these things, and they bring in their implicit bias. I've noticed it as a trans woman, as a Black trans woman, just navigating the space. You won't hire me to do, you know, the pop culture and the hot topic, but you'll hire a gay who's wheeling his neck, a white gay who's wheeling his neck and affectating, you know, AAVE to do the hot topic, you know, because I'm no good to you unless I'm being some sort of martyr. I'm no good to you unless there's violence inflicted on my community. Then let's pass Shar the mic. But it's like, sweetie.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for saying, like, because that is one of the biggest things, not only within the trans community, but just LGBTQ plus period, is that while we are incredibly marginalized within society, there's this idea that we're all victims. I'm like, no, baby, I'm nobody's victim. Y'all want to mess with me, but it's not going. It's only going to do so much because I still will rise and thrive and make it happen for myself. So let's not get it twisted with, yes, this is wrong, but I'm not a baby about it. You know what I mean? Like, then that's what there's like this constant thing, and that's why they always reach out and, like, you know, people with like, I'm trying to tell new friends that are like getting on the ally train. It's like, don't send friends videos and be like, oh, look at this person I just had an argument with on Facebook that's transphobic. Be like, bitch, I don't need to see that. Just do the work.
I don't care. Right. Where's my bell? Do the work.
Right. I don't need to. We're not grading homework over here. Like,
we're not, and you don't get brownie points. I deal with this also with cis het men on the side, because you know my intersectional identities are blackness, transness, and womanhood. So with the whole, I won't even get into the whole Meg the Stallion type thing. Like, I'm not passing out brownies for you being a decent human being and helping dismantle patriarchy, racism, sexism, misogyny, transphobia, and homophobia. You're supposed to do that.
Right.
You're supposed to. So yeah, it's just been an observation that I have taken in these Hollywood spaces. And I should note, before we switch gears, I should note that I have been hesitant, and I've been transparent about this. I have been hesitant in stepping fully into an activist space because, for one, I know my mental bandwidth. I know my mental bandwidth. I cannot exist in an activist space constantly, right? Yeah. And then on top of that, I have observed that there is a expectancy of perfection, and I can get messy and sloppy over it. But you know, there's an expectancy of perfection in the activist space, but it seems like I said, it's a function of white supremacy, if you ask me, because everybody that's in charge is white and male in a lot of LGBT spaces, and my black trans ass is no good to them unless, I don't know, unless I'm talking Drag Race or
like, let's put you on the red carpet, and
or I'm talking, you know, violence and statistics. I don't know. Maybe it's something I gotta sit on this. Yeah. Switching gears. Now we're gonna talk about Johnny Sibilly, honey. Oh. So you are originally from Miami. Tell me firsthand, what the hell is going on with Florida, and why is Florida so committed to always being the most problematic state out of all of the United States of America? You all have a true commitment to forever missing the mark. What's in the water down there?
I don't know. I think that's part of the reason I had to leave. I mean, I love my people from Miami, but it's also a very, like, it's a banana republic down there of like different rules for different folks. Like, I don't know. Florida always, to me, feels like the person that comes to the family party and you're like, oh shit, I thought we were gonna have like an okay time, and then they walk in. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's in the water down there, but I talked to some of my family and I'm like, I gotta step away from this for a moment because I don't know what y'all are watching or who y'all are talking to. Because I like to think that I'm not in that much of a bubble. Like, I do read stuff that will make me angry, but I have to, so that I know that what exists out in the world. But some of the shit they say, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like I'm glad that I have FaceTime.
Florida seems to be the home base for the QAnon. There's a conspiracy theories. I've seen more brown and black folks that are Team Trump hubbed and vocal about it in Florida. It's a wild place. Yeah,
that's like the Latinos in Miami that are like for Trump. I'm like, what? Huh? Like, you just don't get it. You know, and people, when they hear about, like, you know, Miami's very safe, or like Florida's very safe for someone like me, that's why they all go and gravitate towards, you know. So I don't know.
I've never been. I've only been to Orlando and somewhere else. I have never, ever been to Miami. Ever.
Miami's fun. I love Miami. I grew up there, so there's like that, like, oh, I grew up there vibe. But like, I love it. I love the people. I love the culture. The humidity, not for me. Like, this heat wave in LA this past week has reminded me of Miami. I'm like, oh, this is why I don't live there.
I got family on the Gulf of Mississippi and Louisiana. I'm familiar with humidity. Okay, you want my when I think humid, I think Louisiana in August. Louisiana this month, baby.
Yeah. I was actually born in Louisiana, in New Orleans.
Oh, really? Nice. See, I got some Jossells down there. Some of my family's down there, so that is cool. So, okay, so you are an actor. And a lot of people, I was introduced to you through Trace Lissette. Shout out to the good sis.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were introduced to you as Costas Perez, as Pray Tell's a love interest in season 1 of Pose.
Yeah.
Walk me through what that experience was like on that set. Oof. I know that your character ended up passing away due to complications of HIV/AIDS. Mm-hmm. What mental preparation did you have to do for a scene like that? Because you looked totally different in the makeup when it was time. You know.
It's funny. I tell some people sometimes that I did that part, and they're like, "That was you." I'm like, "Yeah, that was me."
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No. For that part. It really is one of the most special things to ever happen to me, not only because of like the space that it's created, but also personally. Like I met Trace and Laverne and a bunch of other people in an acting class in New York called Act Out, which was a space created for LGBTQ plus performers to come and embrace that. Because as an actor, you know, you're never shown like, oh, these are the gay icons that you want to model yourself after. There's no like, oh, these are gay roles that you're going to practice. So this was a space that we could go into and either tell our own stories, make scenes from our own traumas, and it really was a healing space. And it also took place at sometimes at the LGBT Center, which used to be the old St. Vincent's Hospital in New York. Wow. So at the end of class, our acting coach, Brad Calcaterra, who's amazing, would have us get in a circle and be like, all right, people died from AIDS in this building. We need to honor them with our art, da, 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 da. So when I got the role, it almost felt serendipitous because I had auditioned. This was the third time I was auditioning for Pose because I auditioned for a walk-on and then for Cubby, which is Jeremy's character, who I adore.
Wait. Who's you're talking
Jeremy
about
McClain.
Season 3?
Huh?
Wait, well, who's Cubby?
Cubby and Lamar, so that's Jason.
Oh, the two.
Yeah.
That be snapping and walking behind Electra and stuff. Okay, yes.
Yeah. So I auditioned for that part, didn't get it. Then I got the Costas role, and I remember Trace actually helping me put it on tape, and I was like, it is what it is. Like, we'll see, you know. And then I got it, and it was just being on set was a whole different experience because I've been on sets, you know, for a couple years up until that point, and it was just very diverse. There were trans people working on set, which was like so beautiful. Like Deja was in the makeup trailer. Like there were people that not only did I know, like working with MJ off Broadway before that, like people that I know and felt like family, but there was also people that I felt were like me, because going on set before that was like, you know, just a bunch of white cis men. And you know, it's one of those things, like you hire what you know, and you know, but this was our turn to be like, let's hire what we know and who can tell this story in the best, most authentic way. And I also remember being in the hospital and just feeling that, like, and the way people looked at me when I had the makeup on, like, you know, acting is great and all, you could do it, like I can do it like this, but when you have the whole get up and the space, it really takes you to a place. And I remember right before I shot my last scene with Billy, I was like in a room by myself rehearsing my lines and just feeling that like weight of ancestral like push to do well. Like I really did feel that, and I don't usually feel like a spiritual drop in, but I did feel it in that space. And it was just, and Janet was amazing. Like just Janet and Billy and just everyone there, I felt so taken care of, and you don't usually feel that way all the time on set as an actor.
No, you sure don't,
especially when you're queer or brown or black or trans, like you, but it felt like family. And that's why I think the show does so well, because everyone feels like they're on the same team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that, you know, that scene, as a matter of fact, that season, I preferred season 1 over season 2. Only because season 2, I only liked half of the episodes. Season 1, I liked the entire first season.
Got it.
I'm being honest, but
yeah, we love honesty.
Was something that really, really, you know, cut deep. I thought that you and Billy did such a beautiful job of telling that story and just making it so palpable Like,
Yeah.
your characters leapt off of the screen. I felt like I knew Costas. Like,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
It
So
was
what would
also
be,
like, oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, for me also, it was so special because for so many years I had seen stories of white men dying of AIDS, like
Mm.
over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, but black and brown men are also very, if not more affected. Where are those stories? So
Mm-hmm.
seeing just how unapologetically beautiful these stories are being told on Pose with the trans black and brown actors with when it comes to HIV and the stigma and stuff, I just was like, here's what I've been looking for. Because they always say, like, when did you first see yourself on TV? It's like,
Yes.
when I was on it, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say, I've always in the past said that Janet Mock is the first time that I saw myself, but I don't think so. I think the first time I saw myself was actually in Cis Women, but Janet gave me permission to transition, if that makes sense.
Ooh,
Seeing
yes.
Janet gave me
Yes.
the permission to be like, girl, now come on now.
I love it.
She was that visibility for me. So yeah, damn, you just made me lose my train of thought with the
So,
next question I was going to ask you. That's so beautiful. Oh, as an actor, what would be your dream role? I know that's a cliche question you probably hate getting, but what would be your dream role? Maybe who are some of the people that you'd love to work with? Because it feels like you're just getting started, but I know that you, like most actors, you've probably been in the trenches for years now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what, like, I really do embrace my journey. Like, there's some people that get it right off the bat, and I feel like it's nice to just be in the trenches and really appreciate any kind of opportunity you do get. But for me, like, I was actually thinking about that the other day because I'm all about intention and, like, being as specific as possible. But the thing that keeps coming back to me is, like, I feel like there aren't enough stories. Both my mom and dad were in the military, and I feel like there's not a lot of stories about queer folks in the military and, like, navigating that, like, during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And, like, even in the 60s, 70s, I love reading books about, expats and stuff like that, just, like, navigating being queer in such a non-queer space. So that would be a dream role for me, whatever that looks like.
My
And,
mind
like,
went to Soldier's Girl. I remember watching that as a teenager. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's the Calpurnia Adams story. It's
no,
horrible. It's so sad, but it deals with a trans woman and a man, a cis man in the military. Well, she's not in the military. He is. And they fall in love and start a relationship. And basically his homophobic comrades within the military end up murdering him because he loved a trans woman. If you all haven't checked out Soldier's Girl, check it out. It's woo. But then again, I saw it when I watched that movie maybe in 2003.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let's get into something a little bit more fun.
Okay.
You have such a strong social media presence. I love Julissa. Your most annoying character to me. Oh, I just want to just punch him. Oh, I can't stand him. It's Wes from West Hollywood. Because it's so real. Like, it's so, like, there are so many Wes's in West Hollywood. It's just, Wes is triggering to me. He's triggering to me.
For sure.
So where do you get, like, you just did the TikTok, you were doing the WAP from the top, make it drop.
Ooh, I don't know how the kids do it these days, but
you was tearing it up. So let me know where you get your inspiration, because all of your skits are hilarious.
Yeah.
I would love to see you in a comedy space, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I respect you for the drama, but I'd love to see you in a comedic space. I feel like you shine there as well.
Yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration? What makes you wake up and say, I'm going to tap into a Julissa today, or I'm going to put this filter on and be Wes from West Hollywood? Like,
I love the point. For me, I'm a very, like, I like to sit and watch people and listen. Like, being a shy kid growing up, which is, like, hilarious now because you can't get me to shut up now. But
yeah, you were shy growing up.
Because it was all in me. I was just watching everyone live their lives, like, just without worry, without care. And, like, you kind of, like, watch that and you're like, I want that. So you, like, create these personas and characters. And I remember, like, when I started doing Julissa and, like, a couple of my other characters, it was, like, during a time when I was single and, like, sad. And I wanted to translate that feeling into something that felt fun and relatable, and I use shells of people like Julissa, which would be like everyone I grew up with, my family, you know, and it's so funny because people are like, oh, you trying to be like Cardi B? I'm like, what y'all don't realize is that Cardi B is not an anomaly.
She really isn't.
The girls are like Cardi B all over the place.
Listen,
you know?
Johnny, I'm from Chicago, and I know at least 4 Cardi B's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Don't play.
And then Wes is like, it's just one of those things. You go to a couple Butch Queen parties in West Hollywood, and you meet some people, and you listen to what they're about, and you're like, oh, cool. How can we? Because I swear to you, everyone will send me profiles of who they think Wes is based on, and I gag because he's not really based on anyone in particular. But when they send it to me, I'm like, oh my god.
Wait, do these profiles? Okay, so they send you profiles. Do the people have video? And like sound like Wes?
Yes, like it's just very like, it's just, you know, when someone drinks their own sauce or their own Kool-Aid a little too much, it gives that like, just like, I'm here to tell you about me, and it's like, what are you talking about, this thing? Like, yeah, it's crazy.
So who's your favorite too? Because those are 2 of my favorites. Who is your favorite to do? Like, who's your favorite person to skit? Which character?
I think it really depends on the mood that I'm in, because I would like, there's been moments where like right now I'm like not in a Julissa phase, but like I can, like tomorrow I might wake up and be like, oh, you know what I want to, and it very much is like that. It's just improv. It is like, put the camera up, go to town, and then we edit it and figure it out.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Are these like detailed outfits? So you literally just wake up, you put your West filter on and get the voice going and just press record?
Yeah. No, I've never done a script or anything, which I probably should, because it would be helpful if I wanted to like turn it into anything to have that kind of structure. But like, I get so much joy in the editing, watching the whole thing, like the crazy outtakes and everything, and just like chopping it up to whatever I think is, but I mean, I do write down ideas every now and then. Like,
right.
Julissa should talk about fuck boys, like, which is like, you know, bread and butter, and also like
that'll be me next hour. Oh wait, I opened it wrong. I hate when I do that.
It still gave the same effect.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's just about having fun, and when it doesn't feel like fun, I don't do it. And
do you apply that principle to everything?
I try to, unless it's like making me a good amount of money, then I'm like, okay, just get your joy somewhere else.
Listen, it be like that sometimes. It ain't easy being out here being an artist. I've been threatened with the idea of like potentially having to pivot careers, and that terrifies me, because I moved out here for a very specific purpose, and I still feel like my star is rising. But due to the 2020 of it all, a lot of people, and I freelance, so a lot of people are talking about, who are in my position, are talking about pivoting, and I'm like, sweetie, if I pivot, I might as well pack all of this crap back up and go back to Chicago. And I say that in jest, but it's just like, no, I worked too hard. I've been here for 6 years. I've worked too hard to pivot. Yeah. My mom, anytime I like have a moment where I'm like, maybe I should just get into nonprofit and call it a day, because that's actually something that I thought about getting into before like knowing that acting would be my end all be all. And she's like, no, you're too deep in it. You can't give up now. I'm like, okay, cool. That's what I needed to hear. Listen, you got to. So I have to ask, just to round out we got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
I need to know, because I ask all of my guests this, I need to know, what have you been reading, if anything? What have you been watching? What have you been listening to? What have you been doing in 2020 to kind of keep you occupied?
For me, I bought a lot of books, and I've listened to a couple. I made it a like, cause I'm like, if I'm someone that wants to create queer characters and make space for our stories, I need to read the stories that have come before me. So like the James Baldwins and the Gore Vidals and things like that. I mean, it's a throwback, but all of that is, you can't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. So, So
That's true.
just getting those books on Amazon and things, and like I remember I got off social media for like a week, which felt like 3 months, but it was a week. But you know, we get on and we're on the Instagram and the Twitter and the thing, and I needed a space to just like step back. So I got off completely and I did like a bunch of master classes. Have you heard of those?
Yes, I have heard of those. I was thrown off at first because I don't know if you're familiar, but Oprah had a show titled Masterclass. She had
Yes. Oh my
Jane
God, I
Fonda.
loved that show.
Me too.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the new ads for, because I saw like an Instagram ad for like Annie Leibovitz, the photographer. And so I am familiar with Masterclass.
Yeah.
You just got to pay for those though. It's different than Oprah.
Right. I think I did like a year subscription or whatnot. And then I just like would, every day I'd wake up with my little notepad. Cause I also like, I'm one of those people that thrives on structure. I'm a Virgo, day after Beyonce. So
I'm a Capricorn, Earth sign.
I love
you
it.
have a birthday coming up then,
I
September
do.
5th.
That's right. It's so funny. Every time I talk about my birthday, I always feel the need to like, well, Beyonce's the day before me, just so y'all know, like, what we're working with.
Right.
No, but having that kind of structure and like waking up and like, and remembering, because also with social media and things like that, sometimes you forget why it is that you do what you do and why you love what you do. And sometimes you have to hear other people talking about it and doing it to really remember and remind yourself. So just doing that. I've been watching a lot of Love Island.
Okay.
And you know what's so funny? Like when my boyfriend first popped it on, I was like, "This is trash. I don't watch trash." I mean, I watch Housewives, which trashy, but like I love it. And then I was like giving very like, and 2 episodes in, I was like, because I don't like dating shows. They make me feel very cringe.
Unless it's Flavor of Love.
Oh my God.
Oof. Or I Love New York, legendary. But
yes.
I'm not big on dating shows either.
I don't do like The Bachelor. Everything feels very cringe. I'm like, why are they all trying to get with one man? Like, ooh, that sounds. I'm not fighting for anybody. So
and overproduced on top of that. The dating show feels so overproduced, so manufactured. I feel you. I did like Too Hot to Handle on Netflix.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
That one was cute. I like.
Did you watch Love Is Blind?
No, I have not seen Love Is Blind. I've not seen Indian Matchmaking. There's so many on. I do like Dating Around on Netflix.
Ooh, I like that one too because it feels so real. Like when they have those moments, you're like, ooh, this day is not going well.
I love Dating Around, so I did binge season 2, and it's quick and easy. You know, it's like blind dates. You know the format. It's only like 6 episodes a season. I feel like so.
Right. Oh, and I caught up on all of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because I'd never seen it, and I watched the whole series in
We are the same person. I did it in May.
Yeah. I did it around that time too, yeah.
To me, season 2 made TV what it is. Season 2 was the wild season. That's when Taylor's husband went on. It was a lot that went on when Kyle had to disinvite. Remember, Taylor and her husband were walking up to the white party, and Kyle had to step outside and say, "You all aren't welcome here."
Yes.
Oh my, that was such. And the height of the Kim versus Kyle, like season 3, Brandy stepped in. Like I've been.
Brandy, she really shook the table when she walked in.
Yes, she did. So that's fun. We were on the same page with that. What else? Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's about it. I got a dog during quarantine, which I feel like a lot of people have done, which has been a real, it's been a blessing, but also like,
what kind of dog?
A little French bulldog.
Oh, I'm shutting this live off. Could you be more of a stereotype? A damn French bulldog.
I know. Listen, I've had different dogs my whole life, and my boyfriend actually has a French bulldog, and he's like, "We need a little family." I'm like, "Okay," and I mean, he's just the cutest little thing. He's locked out right now because he makes too much noise with that breathing, but.
They all have those they need little rhinoplasties. I'm a Shih Tzu girl. I love a Shih Tzu.
Oh, they're so.
I was raised with Shih Tzu, so that's the breed that I'm loyal to. Like if I ever get a dog again, I will get a Shih Tzu. I'm also a cat girl too. I enjoy felines. A lot of people don't. I feel like me and cats, we see each other.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more of a cat person, but I'm allergic, so that's the issue there. So. But I'll take a Zyrtec and, still go over a friend's house that has a cat and, call it.
What have you been what have you been listening to? So we got what you've been reading, what you've been watching. Have you been listening to any type of fun
I've been
music?
listening to a lot of old stuff, like a lot of Fleetwood Mac.
Yes.
Yeah, like just like the Carpenters, like old stuff. And then obviously, after watching Black is King, like I just felt like I heard the Spirit album in a different way after watching the visual. So that's been playing a lot. You know, the pop girls, the Gagas and the Dua Lipas, anytime I'm like gonna do a workout. But I like, and like Casey Musgraves. I love a little country. I love a little bit of everything. And like all at the same time. It's very
so
weird.
you work out to the pop girls. You're working out to rain on me, rain, rain.
Right. While looking all like, but I'm
Right.
like doing shows in my head.
See, what's funny, you mentioned Black is King. I just got a car last weekend, and it's black, and that's my car's name, Black is King.
Yes.
I told you I'm high to the day I die. When I work out, I'll be listening to I be listening to some crazy stuff. Not the pop girls. I listen to hip hop.
Yes.
It'd be Beat King. Dun, like I like a lot of Southern hip hop, a lot of Texan hip hop, a lot of Louisiana. I like Trina. Like I listen to it all, but the hip hop when I do work out, which is few and far in between. Not everybody can have the schedule and the body like you. Okay?
Oh please.
Which is few and far in between. That's what I put on. Ryan wrote WAP. I'm working out for WAP.
I mean, WAP has been on. I mean, that goes without saying. Like, I actually the other day I was like, maybe I should listen to something else, and like tap in. All of it. Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because hip hop does, when I'm like lifting weights or something, it does hit a little harder when I'm doing the workout. But when I'm doing a little cardio, little jump rope, it's usually a pop.
Rain on me, May. I was just talking to two friends last night about, that damn Fame Monster album, baby. I gotta revisit her. I love me a Speechless. I want to listen to Paparazzi, even though I don't think that's on that album. But I felt like going down, the Apple Music Lady Gaga Essentials.
I love the Essentials, yeah.
I was in a Stephanie Germanotta mood last night.
We love her.
So I think we're just about winding up. Okay, we got 8 minutes left. If you all want to submit any questions before Johnny, I'm giving you the whole hour. Okay.
Look, they said park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage. I mean, such a good
line, a bar. If you all have any questions for Johnny, you can submit them in the question mark icon right by your where you're leaving your comments. We got 7 minutes left. I'm not letting you leave a second sooner.
I love it.
So let me try to think of another topic just in case questions come in. I'm taking the whole hour with you, Sibilly.
I love that you pronounced my name right the first time. It's like,
well, you know what? If I'm being full disclosure, because I'm a journalist. I really am a journalist.
Yeah.
So with your name, I never knew how to say your last name. I never knew how to say your last name because phonetically it doesn't look like Sibilly to me.
Right.
And so what I did is I looked up some things that you participated in on YouTube.
Ooh. And
I heard other people say it. And then luckily I found a clip of you and you were like, hi, I'm Johnny Sibilly. And I was like, okay. Like literally, it's written down phonetically here. I put down Sibley.
Yes, I love it.
Listen.
If it's phonetically, it is Sibilly. So like when people, it's like that very like Christina Aguilera, like Aguilera, whatever. I'm like, just say it however, it's fine.
Yeah, so we have a question from CJ Tyson.
Yeah.
What did you take away from your master classes? If you could, we got 6 minutes left, so if you could.
I took away that I am exactly where I need to be, and that even people that I deem more successful, that we have a lot of similar traits in the way we go about process. And so sometimes you watch people and you're like, I need to get the advice from them, but sometimes the advice is already with you just have to keep going.
Yeah,
so that's my biggest takeaway, really.
Right where we need to be, which is sometimes one of the most difficult pills to swallow, but you gotta trust and believe. Oh my, and this is me, someone who'll probably cry when the day is over, because 2020 has her perpetual foot on my neck. But right where you need to be, right in this moment.
Like, are you done?
What's your favorite Mariah song?
Um, this.
Mine is Can't Let Go for the moment.
You know what? My acting coach always said, trust the first drop in and make it through the rain. Is probably not my favorite, but it is transcendent. Like the music video. I just remember the time it came out and where she was in her life. Like it just, yeah, that song
Like
will
Fly
always.
Like a Bird is one of those evergreen ones for
Ooh,
me. There's too many. This is a hard question. There's too many Mariah. Too many
very
Mariah.
bad. Yeah.
TT said breakdown. I love a breakdown. Um,
Yes.
favorite Beyonce album for me,
Ooh.
Lemonade.
Uh,
Because of the visual. I love that visual album, the story that it told, just as a black woman to black woman. It
yeah.
tore me up. I love Lemonade and B-Day. Lemonade and B-Day.
Oh, B-Day's so good. I would probably say self-titled because I never skip any song. Not that I usually skip anything on Lemonade. I don't know. Definitely self-titled because when she really dropped that album with the visual at the same time, it was like, I don't know, the game was changed. So
Yeah, self-titled was bomb.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, people are really wheeling these questions in. Your favorite Britney song?
Slave for You. Favorite Britney song and video. That Pharrell beat.
Speaking of Pharrell, my favorite song, Britney song at the moment, is not a single, but it's "Why Should I Be Sad" from the Blackout
Oh
album.
my gosh! Wow. Deep
Speaking
cut.
of Pharrell, that was a song.
That was
K-Fed.
the song.
I don't know what this is about. Does Megan?
Oh, that's one of my characters, who's like perpetually being treated unfairly by men. So I don't know. I feel like she's had men and they just don't work out. And I do think that one day maybe she'll find the one, or maybe she'll just find herself and be happy with that. I don't know.
All right. He already answered Team Brandy or Team Monica. Oh, y'all are getting deep with this. Any actors you'd like to work with?
Meryl Streep, obviously.
Same, and I'm not even an actor.
What's his name from Watchmen? He's so fine.
Oh, Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yeah, yes. Oh my God. I would love to work with Trace, because she's my best friend and I think she's so talented and I would love to just like play with her. But yeah, I mean, I'm all about collaborating with people that aren't even like, big names, because I feel like that's always the go-to.
Okay, and this will be our final question for Johnny. Thank you all who all submitted. This was fun. Johnny, any advice to young BIPOC, LGBTQIA plus youth on taking care of your mental and physical health?
Oof.
Listen, we all still figuring that out. But go ahead, Johnny. This is for you.
What works for me is to surround myself with people either online or whatnot that match my value system and that will give exactly what I'm giving when it comes to support. You need people to be in your corner and to have your back. And if you don't have that, then you have to, like, I remember reading books called How to Be Alone that really helped me just enjoy like centering myself and being in my thoughts and letting thoughts go in and go out, because sometimes where we run the risk is when we let them just stay in and fester. So
feelings are not final.
Right. And they're not facts. So yeah,
yes,
I think just taking time to know yourself, whether you're comfortable or not. The more you're with yourself alone, the more comfortable you will become, and then be like, like RuPaul always says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? But
that is a great note to end on. We got about 30 seconds left. Johnny, yeah. I love you deep.
Thanks
for being my guest.
Thank
on
you.
Sunday, Shar. Enjoy your Sunday, and I don't know the next time I'll see you because we're in a pandemic, but
hopefully sooner than later.
I'll double tap. I'll always double tap, and maybe send you a tweet or two. So have a good day. And those of you who are sticking around, I'll be back for hour 2. I just need to touch up my tea, and we got to talk. So come back for hour 2. Yeah, this is the end. All right, Sundays with Shar. See ya.